But you made another point, which is an interesting point, and it's very difficult to see in the heart of people. But I wonder if you look at the average Palestinian and the average Israeli, and when they look at the other, do they have some hate in their heart? Well, everybody probably has some. What is that amount? When you look at a person that looks different than you, how much hate is there?
It depends on what is the living situation of each person. So in the Berlin Film Festival, just like a couple of weeks ago, there was an Israeli and a Palestinian receiving an award together. And the Israeli director said, we're going to go back to Israel. He's going to go to the West Bank. He will have no rights, and I will have full living rights. These people managed to work together and be friends, and they have empathy to each other. Now, the average Palestinian, it's a very difficult question, because is it the Palestinian in the diaspora, or the Palestinian in Gaza, or the diaspora in the West Bank, or the one in the as a citizen of Israel, who still have less right than a Roman citizen of Israel, a Jew? And it really depends. There are people Arabs in Israel who are having a great life, and there are people, Arabs, who are having a miserable life. But definitely people that living in Gaza or in the West Bank is kind of like on the lower tier of the living conditions. Now, let's talk about the hate. What does that Palestinian see from the Israeli? The Palestinians see oppression, limitation of movement, limitation of freedom. They have, and then when there's something happens, you see the full force coming in, destroying their home, taking away members of his family. There would be absolutely no reason for him to love the other. The Israeli, because he doesn't have the power, but he lives under his government, all he sees is the rockets or whatever, but like he sees the reaction, and he doesn't see what happened to those. And as humans, we are selfish. We see what really affects us as humans. And I cannot even imagine what it would be like to live as a Palestinian. And I'm not even talking about Gaza, because everybody talks about Gaza. But let me give you an example. And I'm not going to talk about the 12,000 kids killed in Gaza. Let's talk about just like the 4 weeks in the West Bank. March 4th, Amr Najjar, age 10, sitting next to his father, shot while he's sitting in a car next to his father by the IDF soldiers. Mohammed Ziad, 13 years old, March 3rd, shot in front of a UN school while sitting with his friends. Mohammed Ghanem, age 15, March 2nd, he shot while standing in front of a storefront during a night raid. February 23rd, Saeed Jardal, he was killed by a drone fire. February 22nd, Fadi Suleiman, killed while standing in front of the top of a Red Cross building. Nihil Ziad, February 14th, Valentine's Day, killed, a shot in the head while leaving school. February 11th, Mohammed Khattour, US citizens, killed while being in a parked car. And Mu'adh Shams, February 9th, killed right in front of his home because a military car came reversing back to him, and then somebody opened the door, shot him, and leave. This is a daily life of people in the West Bank.
What is the justification that IDF provides?
Terrorism.
Or
I don't know, I mean, you cannot really say like human shields, but they would say like they were throwing rocks. There was a guy who went on Chris Rock, and he said like his son, a US citizen, was killed, and it's like they were throwing rocks, so we killed them. Even when they were throwing rocks, you kill him. But the thing is, you see, this is how easy for them to get rid of Palestinians. I mean, I love, like, I had to say I prepared a little bit for the podcast because you are in tech. So, and I am ignorant in tech. There is a movie called The Lab. It is directed by an Israeli director called Yotam Feldman. And he talks about how the military industry in Israel is very advanced. And what is really mind-boggling is in that movie, he shows how the military tests its weapons in the field in urban areas on Palestinians. It is heartbreaking. You know, as a doctor, there's 5 stages of trials. There is there's discovery, preclinical, clinical, and then market, and then post-market evaluation by the FDA. The FDA approval, and then the FDA post-market. 5 just to take a pill. And you go in, and he interviews people as like, where did you test this? And they test it in the field. So when you just like, when human life is so cheap and it is so indispensable, it gave me a visceral reaction, because you know, we as human, this has been actually the state of humanity. Humanity have lived and survived and thrived by actually killing each other. But there was kind of like we were removed from it. People in Greece didn't know what the Alexander the Great was doing. He was killing and pillaging, and like we call him the Great because, but he was killing. He was conquering. He was invading. Julius Caesar, all of the greats, he was doing. But killing was difficult. Killing had to have some sort. You have to be with your enemy. Then you go back, catapults, then cannons, then a little bit back, and then you're kind of like starting remotely. Now you're killing people behind the screen with a push of a button. You know, a lot of people say terrorism. They killed you with a knife. Killed one person with a knife, shot you. That's terrorism. But if you fly a $64 million F-16 and you drop up an A-84 bomb that costs $16,000, that's not terrorism because it's remote. You're behind the screen. So what happened? What Israel is doing? It is removing itself, like America too, drones. And then when you push someone to be they always brag about bombing them to the Stone Ages. What happens when the screens and all of the obstacles that you have been put between you and those people that you have treated them this way, when this is a breach and you come face to face, you will come face to face with what you have created.